Welcome to Ford Family Funds. My name is Rachel. Here on my channel, I do budgeting videos month to month. I try to post weekly updates about how I'm doing with my money, though lately it's been more every couple weeks I've been able to get some videos out. So it is about mid-April now, and I'm going to do my mid-month, or not my mid-month, but my end of the month for March recap. So if you like budgeting videos, hit that like and subscribe button. Join me on my journey as I am paying off debt and purchasing my first house. That is the big goals and the things that I've been working on. I am a full-time high school teacher. I have a toddler son and now 2 stepsons at home. So life is pretty busy in the Ford household. So getting right to it. So I've already done my numbers. This here is my monthly spread that I, check off week to week how I'm doing with my bills, just to kind of keep me on track. So if you're interested in that, you can see that here. It's a little bit messy, but still something that helps me be accountable in seeing the whole month. Going back to my tracking system before the month begins is where I keep all of my trackers for the month. So I have here what my goals were for March. So maintaining frugal living, I felt like I did that. Meal planning and stockpiling, I did some of that. I was able to put sinking funds money aside, so the blessing of the stimulus money as well as my tax return helped us fund all of these different sinking funds as well as some other extra side money. So I was able to put $400 into a vacation fund, $600 for my Volkswagen maintenance, so that covers registration and probably some flushes like brake fluid flushes or something. Usually every year there's something. Another vacation is $400 and then another one is $2,000. That was a big one. And I also have Navient paid off, and I was able to reach that goal. It was really like more of a carryover from March to April, but I was able to get the rest of that student loan paid off. I actually borrowed from myself $625 and I was able to pay it off. I've put back $25 so far, so I'm still in the negative of $600 to myself, but with this paycheck this week and next week, or not next week, but the week after, I should be able to get that all back into my savings account. So for March, I had done up these lists here of our income, savings goals, cash, debts, and totals. I'll come back to that in a minute. This is my monthly budget that I had done at the start of March, and I had come in and filled this in, so I'll come back to this in a second. But this is where I do most of my spending on my credit card. We use one credit card. The rest of our credit cards are debt-free, are paid off, aside from my husband's business accounts. He still has, some debt that he's paying down, but he also uses his cards and then pays them off, things like that. So for our credit card spending, what I do is I keep a list as the month is going on, looking at what I spent, and then when I total it, either halfway through the month or the second half of the month, I then go through and I check off the transactions as I've added them into my different categories. So this seems to work for me right now. In the future, maybe I'll do week to week, but for now, this is working with a mid-month check-in and then the end of the month. I do look at my finances every day, every other day, and I am updating this very frequently. So looking at my credit card spending, so just to get a sense of the numbers, real life here, I do have a financial advisor I work with that's $150 a month. So the first half is when that came out. Second half, there was no fee. So a total of $150. Our cat's bill was a little bit higher. It wasn't expected because it was supposed to come out in February, but it actually rolled over right at the, in between for March, or from February to March. So there was 2 transactions. One was for cat food and the other one was a new litter box. So that came to $179.14. We went with the system called Kateco, which we just ordered a second box as well. So you'll see that in my April transactions. But it is doing really well in reducing the smell. If you have cats, if you have your fur babies, litter boxes can be stinky. So investing in the Kateco litter box is really great. Price point's definitely a little bit higher, but so far we are loving it, and we ordered a second box. Well, we already got the second box and installed it too. So so far so good. For gas, I had 2 transactions in the month, one at the start of the month and one towards the end of the month. We budgeted $120 for me and for tolls, and that was $71.14. I do need to look at my tolls and see if I need to add some on there for the month of April. Grocery household, budgeting $500. We spent $358 at the start of the month, and then $171.86 for the second half, for a total of $530.44. So just a little bit over budget. This includes diapers and household toiletries, as well as food and whatever it is that we need for the household is included in that $500. I had budgeted $80 for my son to go back to the gym. I didn't actually do that, so I bought him a couple shirts and I counted that here, $11.50. And then I also had my hair appointment for the month of March, budgeted $150. It was $125, and then I had done cash for tip. So that was the same, $125 there. Miscellaneous expenses, initially $0 for the first half. Then I had $48.37. And I'm trying to remember what I bought that was considered me miscellaneous. Let's see, where is it? Oh, it must have been this, and I said $48.37 plus 99 cents. Yeah, so $48.37. So that's what it is I went to Walgreens and I counted this as me miscellaneous, but I remember this purchase, and it was a combination of a gift for my friend for her baby, as well as a gift card, and I bought some ice cream. So that, and some cream for my son. Yep, that's what that was. So out to eat, there was a couple transactions for the month. So that was unbudgeted, $83.83. And sinking funds, we didn't have anything come out for the month of March. That would have been a sinking fund. In retrospect, I should have had some money set aside for Easter, because I was over budget and spent, money on toys and candy. So having a sinking fund set aside for that would have been helpful. As well as then under my gifts and holidays, which would have been a sinking fund, $207 in the beginning of the month, and then another $111 for the second half of the month, and therefore a total of $318.77. And that's not including the gift card and the card that I purchased at Walgreens. So definitely a more expensive month for gifts. So I will make note of that. So then when I'm planning for next year, I can have money set aside like in January for these upcoming holidays. eBay, I didn't have any fees, so that was all $0. So a total was $1,000 as what was budgeted, but in reality, I spent $15, $18, $19. So over $500 over budget than what was planned. And that happened. So having a sinking fund set aside definitely would have helped to offset some of that purchase, that $300 if I plan for that next year, as well as the out to eat was adding on another, $83. That's $400 right there. Plus we did an extra, litter box You know, so that was another $70. So it just adds up, and that's how it goes. But better to account for it and know the truth right away than to ignore it and let the debt rack up and then not having the money to pay it at the end of the month. Because it really is a debt until it's paid off. And I know that. So that's why I keep, you know, really close eye on my numbers and really make sure I'm not, you know, overdoing it, or if I am going over budget, I know what I'm going over budget on, and that it's a necessary expense. You know, sure, I could say, well, some of the things I bought maybe weren't necessary. Like I bought this really cute bunny rabbit that's now outside in the garden area, and that was like $15 or $20 at Home Goods. Definitely not needed, but I just loved him, and my husband loved him, and now he's out hanging out in the garden area. So that makes me happy, and that's something that we're gonna have now, you know, moving forward. When we buy our new house, you know, we're going to have that in our garden space. So that's exciting. All right, so back to here. So here is my month budget. I'm trying to keep my video, you know, under 20 minutes. So here is my categories with what I had spent. So our rent was $1,600, child support was $400, checking fee was $4.99. I participated in a webinar to learn more about what is available with this fee as far as credit protection, and it's definitely worth the $5 a month. I just need to add my husband's profile onto the account so that way he can have credit protection as well. My life insurance, $36.95, our internet bill, $105.95, electricity, $107, so those are all fixed expenses. Gas, I budgeted $180, it was $182.77. My Volkswagen payment was $400, and my Navient payment, I was able to do $1,406.13. And that doesn't count for the $1,000 that I also paid off. So as I'm like looking at that, maybe I should change my number. So again, there was a rollover, so I have to look at maybe if I'm going to put it in my April budget. But $1,406 brought me down to $1,000, and then I also did pay off the Navient and paid that final $1,000. Federal loan, $85, and I didn't pay anything because it is on hold right now. And then my daycare, there was a couple days that my son didn't go to daycare, so from $920 budgeted to $735, what was actually spent. For Costco, I had budgeted $150. I did go to Costco and I got some things for $256. And then our household spending budgeted $1,000 on the credit card. I spent $1,518. Sinking funds was $0. Miscellaneous was $0. I was able to put $3,400 aside into my sinking funds. And then my Yotta account, which is our house savings account, was $73.63. So not too much there, but still a little bit each week. I paid my husband's work van, so that was $498.22 out of a $500 budget. And then I did not give myself any cash for March, and hence why I went over budget. So I had some cash already set aside, but I did not take any extra cash out. So that's that. And then my Kohl's bill was pretty hefty for the month of March. I had spent some money on Kohl's, and that was a total of $421.67. So that baby is paid off and back to a zero balance. So overall, I had budgeted almost $6,000, and we had going out, which included money going into our sinking funds, of $11,146.57. So huge money moves this month for March. It was great to put so much money into our savings account, and then, you know, stay on budget with everything else, paying off my Navient and being able to, you know, cash flow Easter and be able to pay it off at the end of the month. So all of that is really great success. So the last thing I have here is my March recap. Let's pull this out. So I had gone through and just listed all of the numbers here. So for my husband's income, he was able to contribute in March $32.50, as well as run his business. And then for me, I brought in just under $2,500, which was expected. I did receive $40 from Ibotta. And then between stimulus funds and taxes, I had $55.62 come in from the US government. So a total of $11,339.35. I'm just averaging $100 for my rollover. That's typically what I have as a buffer in my account. And then I looked at how much I have in savings at the end of March. My eBay account has about $55 in it. I'm not really doing much right now with eBay. My eFund emergency fund account is housed in Yotta, and that is for $1,000. Our house savings fund is up to $300. My sinking fund for insurance, I've contributed $1,065.50, but I only have $915.50 because I had taken $150 out, and I will need to be taking more out to pay my car insurance this next month. I have $250 in my gift savings account. This is all actually included in one account. That's why it's important for me to see how much is available. So I know that each dollar has a place and it's planned as far as where that money is going. I have contributed $350 into the gift account, but I had taken $100 out. So again, for Easter next year, I'll definitely be putting more aside. I have a vacation fund of $3,000, so that is almost fully funded. Or actually, I think that one is fully funded now. It's the camping one that's at zero that I do need to put $500 into that account. I have $300 in account for my cats to go to the vet and have their appointments. And then my car maintenance fund is fully funded at $600. I don't have anything in my Christmas sinking fund yet, so that's at zero. And then my son's education account also is currently zero. So those two goals are more in the fall, late summer, when I plan to put that money into those accounts. And then whatever is left in my savings account, so this includes anything that was there before as well as interest earned, is currently at $56.98. So a total of $5,065.50 for our savings. So my cash envelopes, I'm currently at $0 for all of my home envelopes, and then I have my Volkswagen scratch account is at $250, and I owe $50 to myself. So when I had gone, I think, to Costco, and I used our card, but then I pulled money out of that envelope to pay my daycare, and then I replaced some of it. So I still owe $50. My spending envelopes are at zero for the end of March. And then for debts, I had a last amount of $1,000, but that is since paid off. My Volkswagen lease is at $31.95, and my big federal loan $116,000. So overall, for my totals for our credit card spending in March, we spent $15, $18, $19. I didn't buy anything through PayPal. For checking, which includes our Kohl's and Costco transaction, $677.74. I contributed $3,400 to our sinking funds, $735 to daycare. My Navient was $1,406.13, and then as that month rollover happened, $1,000. Bills was $3335.88, and Yotta was $73.63, and I didn't have any cash for the month of March. So a total of $11,146.57 that went out of our account or into savings. So it's cool to see that. So you can see, even, you know, compared to what was brought in, we're about, you know, $200 off from that number, which accounts for, you know, the rollover that we keep in our account. So that's my March recap. So I think I did pretty well this month. Sorry this video is late in getting out. You know, life gets busy, and I had worked the numbers and I had done a filming and I just didn't love it 100%. So I thought I would refilm and just go over the numbers again as one big list that seems to be working better for me. So yeah, let me know how you're doing in the comments. How are you doing with your budget? How was March for you? How are you doing with April? Do you like this system I'm showing you of how I'm listing our transactions, listing what's happening in our finances? Or do you think I can improve in some ways? I think there's always room for improvement. So if you have any tips, let me know, and I'd love to hear from you. So until next time, bye.